so I'm going to wait a second. Are we good? Okay. Good morning, everyone. This morning, this is the meeting of the Trees and Green Infrastructure Committee here in City Hall in City of Rehoboth Beach. I will begin by having a roll call of our members. Bob Van Horn.
Here.
Jennifer Duncan.
Here.
Diana Jones.
Here.
Myself. This is our fabulous foursome for our meeting. We had a couple people that unfortunately at the last minute couldn't make it, and so we're soldiering on. I'm going to be moving around much like we did last meeting with the agenda. We have a guest with us this morning, and I want to get to her first so she can finish her rounds or whatever. Okay, but I just want to do a couple housekeeping items. We had minutes. You're asking for both to be, I thought we reapproved the last one, but I just didn't bring them to you, but should we approve them again? That's okay, okay. Anyway, we didn't have a meeting last month, but our meeting on June, what day was that, 6th? We wanted to approve the minutes, so if
I motion to approve.
okay.
I wasn't present.
You wasn't present?
Need for you to all sit closer to the microphone.
Okay. Do we have enough to approve with two? Two of us were here, I think, right? We can approve it? Can I,
You've already approved them the last time, and there was just a correction that needed to be made, then those are already approved.
right, I'm talking about the June one.
The June one,
Yeah.
you only have 2 members?
We didn't have a meeting in July, so our last meeting was in June, and I was
These two were
approving
not
those.
present. Just Bunky and
These
I
two,
were
just
present.
the only.
Just
us
Bunky
two
and I were present at that meeting.
Can we approve the minutes?
Have the both of you read the minutes?
I did, yes.
Okay, so you can approve them.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Motion to approve.
You're going to second it?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved. Boy, that was painful, wasn't it? Okay. All right. So I did have like an opening statement, and I'm only stating this because of our somewhat similarity. Our hearts go out to the people of Lahaina in the great state of Hawaii and on the island of Maui. I have not been to Maui. I've been to Kauai and Big Island and Oahu, and my sister actually lived there, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, I only want to stress anything can happen, and I'm actually surprised that the conditions that presented themselves that burned the entire town down had not happened before in such a way, but just a horrific situation with, and the reason primarily is geography, which it's not similar to what we have. They have they're on the leeward side of a mountain range, and what happens is when winds go over the mountain, they come down the other side of the mountain and compress and heat up a little and increase velocity, and they had like 50-mile-an-hour winds, and any kind of spark or anything can set things off, and it gets over in a hurry. So I only want to state this again, expressing our sympathy, but also be prepared. I know the people at the volunteer fire company would come and stress about preparedness. Have a fire extinguisher. I didn't have a fire extinguisher in my house until this year because the volunteer fire department said you're an idiot for not having a fire extinguisher. But anyway, our colleague here, Jennifer, had a house fire. I don't know if you just want to stress, taking an inventory.
Yeah, regardless of whether it's a fire or it's a hurricane or whatever kind of natural disaster. Generally speaking, in our experience, if you don't have an inventory of the contents of your house and your contents happen to be insured, then if you cannot prove I had that king-size bed, I had that dresser, all the way down to the towels and the tools and the window, uh, things you have on your windows. If you can't prove that, then you're out of luck, like people have been in California, in Paradise, and now in Hawaii. So I can't overstress the importance of taking some time out on a rainy day and just go around and videotape everything in your house, open the drawers, open the closets, the appliances, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, good. I think a sensible suggestion. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't want to dwell on this, and obviously we're off topic, but I just wanted to make that plain. Thanks. All right. I'm going to suggest that we go to new business first, and then we can hash out our old business. But we have with us today a member of the Environmental Committee, Carolyn Diefendorfer. Did I get that right? We're pretty close. Am I close?
No, you
Okay,
did.
yeah, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was the Baltimore pronunciation of it. And there was some commentary, which you can share, at the Environmental Committee about, I guess, well, you can expand on, but I think about some of the things that we do and some of the things that they do, if makes any sense for us to join in on that. So I thought we'd have a brief discussion about that, so. Okay.
So just to start out, I'm not only part of the Environment Committee, I am also a volunteer with Rehoboth Beach Main Street, and Rehoboth and Bloom falls under Main Street, and I'm a Bloom volunteer in addition to a Main Street volunteer. So I want to start out with that.
Okay, that's a large umbrella.
Right.
Closer to you.
Yeah,
I can't get much closer.
that's good, yeah.
And so, you know, when I joined the Environment Committee, one of the things I had given thought to was the fact that we do an Arbor Day celebration, but Earth Day is a week away from Arbor Day, and maybe it would be nice to do a combined Arbor Day, Earth Day type of event. So Commissioner Shanowski and I met with the city manager in late May to talk about it, and the city manager didn't really think this raised to the level of needing all the commissioners to be involved. So it was suggested that I reach out to Bunky to, you know, sort of give some of my ideas. So from a bigger perspective, I thought it would be nice if there was a combined event where there was also some educational you know, booths, that kind of thing, to talk about, you know, proper ways to recycle, things that a homeowner can do to help the environment, maybe rain barrels and pollinator gardens, that kind of thing. But City Hall is already booked solid for next year, so there's no way of doing that in 2024. But I had also talked to Cindy Lovett, who is the head of Rehoboth and Bloom, about my idea, and we brought it up at we have like a little management committee, we brought it up there, and we thought it might be cool to do, whether it's a pollinator garden or a butterfly garden in conjunction with the tree plantings, that might be a nice way to sort of expand it to be more than just Arbor Day and the planting of the trees. Interestingly enough, one of the ladies that is part of Rehoboth and Bloom has done butterfly gardens with schools in the past. So she would be willing to help in addition to myself, and you know, we could get lots of volunteers to help with the garden. But kind of wanted to throw that out there and see what you all thought about potentially doing that in conjunction with the Arbor Day celebration that already occurs, and I'm assuming will occur next spring.
Okay.
So,
I need to make one statement correction. I did not announce at the beginning of our meeting when we started. I'm not allowed to have a gavel. So anyway, it was at 10 o'clock. I just wanted to state that. I believe that was my
Okay.
story. But anyway, let me just thank you for coming and sharing that, and we'll discuss it. I just wanted to give like a little bit of background with regard to our Arbor Day celebration, and I don't have any history on this. Just in terms, I know we've been doing it for I don't know, at least 5 years, maybe longer. Do you know? I mean, how long?
Missing our main contact for that, Andrea Hoffman.
Yeah,
so
Andrea,
she would
Andrea
be the
Hoffman,
best
who
resource
unfortunately,
here.
I'm trying to think how many like big ones we've done. Maybe 4. I mean, we've done something every year I've
Yeah,
been here,
but
but maybe
I-
4 big ones, like involving the kids.
yeah, I mean, I can't remember the first year I did it, but it was how I got involved in it, obviously, before I was
Yeah.
on this committee or whatever, but it was pre-pandemic by a couple of years, I think.
Yeah, so we've had
I'm
the
going to say like 2015 or 16, something like that.
we've had the governor twice, and I think we've done it twice with just the kids.
Yeah,
Is what I'm
okay.
thinking.
So, and I don't know, but
Being
anyway,
one-off.
the Arbor Day, it was really a school thing. You know,
Okay.
it started out as a school event, and I don't, you know, again, we can probably fill this in when. No, but I'm just saying when Andrea can join us again, we can get the lowdown, or we can fill in all that stuff. But all I'm saying is it's kind of driven based on the relationships that she's formed with the school and how that, like, I don't want to say they, yeah, I mean, they kind of drive the agenda just in terms of they have become the audience for this thing. Not to say what you're suggesting everything is like locked or anything. I don't think it is. But that has driven what we do, and you know, we bring people from the state,
Right.
you know, the forestry office or whatever it is, and various things happen. But your idea of like a butterfly garden, the only thing I question about that is at the time, which is typically at the end of you know, almost at the end of
Right.
April. April is not the most cooperative month, you know, in terms of not only weather, but like,
Right.
you know, planting trees or planting flowers or anything. So I'm just wondering how that would work, you know, as a suggestion. I'm sure there's many
Right.
other
I mean,
suggestions.
from the standpoint of the flowers, I don't think it's terrible. I mean, we do all the Rehoboth and Bloom planning right at Mother's Day, which is just a couple weeks after that,
Yeah, right,
and have not had any issues.
right.
So I don't know, I mean, the weather can be different every year, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the timing is horrible.
Right.
Yeah, but what you were hinting at is Andrea,
Yeah, right.
We-
Yeah, let's just see.
coordinate between the elementary school drives the schedule when
Okay.
they are available because they have a lot of other things.
Right.
Right.
And we coordinate that through one wonderful teacher there. And it ties in also with the state's poster contest for Arbor Day, which pulls in the Art League.
Okay.
So we're coordinating with the school, the Art League, and the Forest Service, Ashley Melvin. So the state.
Yeah.
So it's 3 different things that we're trying to all
Right,
bring
yeah. And there's
together.
also, with the school, there's some kind of study day or some kind of test thing or something. That has played a role in the past, you know, with when they could do it and when they couldn't do it. Because, for example, like this past year, we moved the date. It would have been the week before, like on the 21st. Well, I forget. Well, I don't know. But it's, so we can do that. I don't think there's any hard and fast. I think Earth Day is Earth Day, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so, but if we're going to do Earth Day, I think it should happen on Earth Day. But I think we have a little attitude with regard to moving that or make, you know, I'm just saying, I mean, I'm more than happy to brainstorm this or whatever, or think about it, or to come up with maybe another component or however you want to do it. But all I'm saying is,
And if it doesn't work out that it can be done in conjunction with, then I know there is a desire by Bloom, and they would be getting with Liz in the fall to maybe do another garden, and maybe we do it separately this time and work to combine in the
Right.
future if next spring isn't going to, you know, wouldn't work.
Well, I personally am intrigued by this idea, but I don't know why it doesn't have to be an all or nothing sort of
Correct.
thing.
right.
Correct.
right,
So
yeah.
is it possible that, you know, we essentially leave Arbor Day as it is and Earth Day comes later? Do we make this a sort of week-long or 2-week-long event? I mean, we are an important environmentally conscious city. Arbor Day is incredibly important, and Andrea has done a fantastic job leading that with Liz's, you know.
Right.
And so maybe that essentially stays the same, but they're sort of advertised together, and Earth Day comes when Earth Day comes. And I don't necessarily think that the Earth Day celebrations have to be on Earth Day.
No, they don't, no.
And so it could be sort of a combined event, managed somewhat together, brainstormed together, and you have this event of a week-long or 2-week-long thing. I
Right.
mean,
Right, like the state encourages, say, if nothing else, like a community cleanup. And maybe
okay.
like, you know, residents could adopt their block of the street and, you know, make sure things are cleaned up from a trash perspective.
you know, do
There's
we
lots
bring
of
things
easy
like the
things to
ivy
do.
into that?
Yeah,
Where
Yes.
we have a
right,
group,
so-
you know,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
we sort of coordinate. To do that, we're going to, sorry, Monkey,
No,
but
that's
I
good.
mean,
No,
this is,
go
I'm
right ahead.
brainstorming here. So to do that, we're going to need representatives from this committee, representatives from the
Environment.
environmental committee, representatives probably from
Bloom.
Bloom, yes, and possibly from the Parks and group, and form a sort of subcommittee that would work on this and coordinate this. And it would, you know, I would think Andrea and Liz have the most experience with this. They would have to be some advisors in some way. So I'll leave it at that. I'm just brainstorming. That may not be the route we take, but I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, we had talked about bringing in adults, because the Arbor Day that we had done was for children, and this would be for
Exactly.
the adults in the neighborhood and the neighbors,
Yes.
that kind of component.
And we could
for
promote
the-
it as a family event.
Yes, yes.
Also.
Whereas
Really push the
what we
family
had done
thing for
was
Earth
just
Day.
for the children at in the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at, I'm thinking like along your lines, Arbor Day and Earth Day are like cousins,
Yes.
but they are separate. And I didn't even know, and shame on me, that Arbor Day is a national holiday, but not necessarily celebrated at on the same day
Everywhere,
by each
yeah.
state.
Right.
So if there is something, as you said, like a week long, where they piggyback on each other, and it is true, the Arbor Day that we've been doing over the past few years has involved the elementary school kids. So maybe that kind of an approach, and I don't know if it also depends on weather, or if it's a fixed date for either one, but I am intrigued on one other sidebar is, what is a butterfly garden? Can you explain
well,
that?
so what I know, I'm new to Bloom. I'm not a gardener, but I want to learn. But I think you target plants that will attract butterflies. But she also talked about having like butterfly houses as part of it, where the butterflies have a place to go into. And I think one of the keys is also water for the butterflies. So it may be something like, you know, I don't know how much you all are aware of, like, but with Rehoboth and Bloom, we tend to our planters weekly, and we make sure they're filled with water and that kind of thing. It may be that a team from Bloom takes, you know, does this garden and keeps weeds down and keeps, if there's plants that need to be deadheaded, but also make sure that there's water on a weekly basis for the butterflies. That's my little understanding at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, but her name is Jill Shull. She talked about the butterfly gardens, and she has done them with elementary schools.
Well, space is tight here in
Yes,
Rehoboth,
yeah.
as you know, so there would have to be sites identified and
Exactly.
would have to be coordinated.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll mention too, just to kind of bring you up to speed, this group was formed basically to, we don't have any kind of specific authority to do
Right.
a thing, or we're a committee, we're not a commission or any of that kind of stuff. But we try to do I think public information's clearly raising awareness. I
Right,
would just say,
right.
generally speaking, it's like
Right.
what we strive to do. How effectively we do that, I don't really know. But anyway, we attempt to get things in the lines of the sand. We're planning on having something next month, hopefully, to have a lecture. We've had lectures in the past that would take place here and, be on a topic and that kind of thing,
Right.
and figure that out.
Right.
But, and the other thing I was saying about, we're at the kind of early stages of trying to come up with a cleanup event, which right now we're discussing, and we will discuss today, hopefully somewhat, about ivy cleanup.
Right.
Our thing has been with
Right.
regard to ivy eradication, and we're thinking about doing something possibly at the near the tennis courts over
okay.
there in the beach area, Deauville Beach area, and that kind of thing. But and we've done. Well, we've done some things like that in the past, and I see that as kind of an Earth Day kind of thing,
Yes.
So, in conjunction, I don't think, we had a discussion at our last meeting, and it's the idea of like, we don't want it to be a cast of thousands kind of thing, We're trying to get it organized to have it happen, make it somewhat noteworthy for, the city press group or the Cape Gazette or something like that, but basically to, make an impact that will last. Probably we'll have to do it maybe several times or multiple times, but progressively we would improve the situation at wherever that we do that, and that kind of thing. So, so there's that. So I'm just saying, I think there's a lot of crossing of our mandates and so
Yes.
forth and so on. So it makes a lot of sense and everything. And at the way we've been operating, I don't know about you, but we have some difficulty at times to get people to attend our meetings. We have 7 members. However, I can't tell you the last time we've had 7 members here.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So,
we struggle a little bit too,
yeah. So, and that's just the way these things are.
especially in the summer when people are taking vacation.
That particular, and life happens, and
Yes.
I think we
Yes.
would, if it was a different day this week, we would have done better than today, that kind of thing. So anyway, but I'm intrigued. I'm not in any way. The only thing is, I think we were kind of a little bit protective of what has become the Arbor Day
And that's fine.
situation. Right.
That's
and
fine. I mean, I
I
think
wanted to
we-
be clear
yeah.
on that. But I think we still have flexibility with regard to that. And, but we'll just have to figure it out.
Yeah, we don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Right, I understand. But I think, like you say, there's other components to that. I mean,
Right.
I think there has to be, and that's something that we don't struggle with it, but we have to be mindful of. We're talking about trees. Trees sort of get top billing with this group. However, other stuff, the green infrastructure tends to take a slightly lesser role. Not that it's insignificant or anything, but and we have had, I think, lectures in the past with regard to alternatives to lawns and that kind of stuff. And I think like the butterfly garden or something like that, or a what's a
Pollinator.
Pollinator garden. Yeah, thank you. I need you. So to promote that kind of.
Well, there's no reason the pollinator garden wouldn't have a tree in it.
Right, just
Right. No, it doesn't have to be
Or-
exclusive.
Or a
Right.
butterfly garden,
Yeah,
Well,
whatever
same-
types
Yeah,
of plants.
similar,
you're-
similar.
I'm just saying, but we're
Yes, it
stressing
could- yep.
this
And-
aspect.
If you guys remember, Ashley, when she comes from the state, she's actually their environmental educator. So it's
Yeah.
not just trees. So she has like this bug collection that she can bring. Like she has different things, and she
Right.
knows about all of that, everything
Yeah.
related to the environment.
Well, maybe
So-
we can shape her discussion.
But
in
I
some
think
areas.
she really is supposed to be working with children, I believe. I'm sure adults in attendance is fine, but I don't think she wants to necessarily educate a group of 20
Right,
adults.
right, yeah. So
So
we
again,
think-
this could be geared toward families.
Yeah.
In a sort of
Yeah,
way,
and I
to
think
bring
that would be-
families
Right.
into it.
Absolutely
okay.
in their wheelhouse. But it, like we said, it would just have to be at the elementary school and Ashley's schedule.
Can we put this on for topic of further discussion on
Oh,
the
sure,
next
absolutely,
agenda?
yeah.
When maybe other members could be here as well.
That's
Particularly,
true.
I'm thinking about
Yeah,
Andrea
yeah.
We need
because
Andrea here.
Well, and I can work to get, other members of Rehoboth and Bloom to come and potentially other members of the Environment Committee to come.
Okay.
It's, you know, it's just something that I think could be further discussed, not that anything is going to come of it, but I'm intrigued by the idea of making this more than just a sort of one-day event with Arbor Day.
Right,
I think Arbor Day
right.
should
Yeah,
stay,
right.
I agree, sort of the way it
Yeah.
is. But we can make this a larger, more, I'm thinking of families, more inclusive sort of program for Rehoboth.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I like that.
You know, we'll
Yeah,
see.
so I think we're all ears, right? Okay. I don't, is there anybody else, anything else to add to this? I mean, you tell me if,
No, I think that's good, and
Okay, all
I
right.
guess I would just say is, once you know what agenda you'll target, the date, if you'll let me know, I'll
Sure,
try to get
yeah,
others to
yeah,
come.
well, I'll just
Yeah.
include you in our
Yes.
discussion.
Okay,
If you- and
perfect.
Obviously,
Yeah.
we have many chairs here.
Yes.
Anytime you want to
Yes.
join us, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, this ends up being a discussion that only hits the airwaves or the.
Right. No, I get it.
the
Yeah, we don't
web,
get a lot of attendees at the Environment Committee.
yeah,
Unless
right.
there's a particular topic of interest.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, okay. Well, people can watch it,
Yes,
you know, wearing their
yes, they can.
pajamas and
Yep.
stuff, yeah, so, right.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for coming up with that.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Okay. so- Well, I'm gonna forge ahead here. Have I already forged ahead?
Yes.
I don't know if I forged ahead or not, but anyway. that's right.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Carolyn.
Yep.
All right. You know, obviously, we didn't have a meeting last month due to similar circumstances. But we, in going through the minutes of our May meeting, I felt as though we had loose ends. We have loose ends. So I wanted, and again, and I think they may remain loose because a number of other folks here who I think could answer these things. But one of the questions actually that Andrea had posed was, what happened to what we thought was going to be like a handout thing for the? I'm gonna hit. Let me talk about this.
Where are we?
Well, I'm going back to old business. I'm starting with D.
D, okay.
I'm going to jump around. About, I think you had written something. Did we get it to? There was. I thought we were looking at developing a brochure or something like that, but now I don't know what has become of that, or do we need to revive that, or what? I just wanted to, with regard to ID, or was it?
Well,
Yeah. I'm not dumping it on you. I'm just trying. I'm just trying. I think you're the person to ask.
I think that we need to wait until Andrea's back, because I think she was taking a lead on several of these that are in the list.
Possibly, but I was.
And I was not in town. For the last meeting, we didn't have.
Yeah, right. No,
So I don't
I'm just
know
saying
the
that
status.
I thought I'm just trying to reestablish and that we may not get a definitive answer on this. but-
Yeah, I think we need to move most of these to the next meeting.
Okay, well,
When we
well,
have
I just
the-
want to go down the list, and if we do
Okay.
that, we do that, that's
Okay.
fine. So if you want to, but let me just, just wanted to state, what was the idea that we were somehow doing this in conjunction with Lynn Cohen, and that was moving forward, getting some kind of a brochure printed or something like that? And if that's not the case, then we can just, but I did, for some reason, I thought that's where we left it. But I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, we don't know. Okay, we don't know. All right, so that's good. We'll pursue.
Can't say for sure, but we think so.
Yeah, right. I'm just going to say to next meeting. Yeah, that may be the case with a lot of these, but anyway. Anyway, let me go down the list, because this may be an abbreviated meeting, and by all means, Liz, jump in anytime you want to. But the commemorative tree program, Susan's not here, so we're going to go next time for that. Because I think we're at the end of the quarter, or we were, or whatever. Maybe next time that we were going to get like kind of a quarterly update, and we would do that. But and Susan intended to be here at this meeting. This was kind of a last minute thing, so we'll push that to next time. And same with the tree mapping project. Yeah, I think a lot of these we're going to have to forego. I will just say, I basically had set this thing up with Carolyn, and I didn't want to put her off again, so at the very least, if we got to talk to her, that was good. So anyway, that's what, I'm going to move to item C now. The only thing I wanted to say about this was, I think we have some ideas. Obviously, I think we obviously need to talk about this, but next, with more of us. But I think we have a couple topics that I think we can either narrow down or develop or whatever. But if anybody had any other comments or with regard to a lecture topic, but I think we had a couple topics from the past, that I think we could move forward. So I'm just opening up to you all if you got any other ideas. Okay. All right, D, we're going to move forward. Okay, item E, we're still, I think, very much on the formative stages of this, but I just want to maybe pose this to Liz. What's your take on this? You have spoken about it, but what do you think is kind of like the best way to kind of work towards this, as like some kind of an available thing at a certain time of year? I mean, is that trees can be got for reduced price, or I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to figure out, like, if we narrow down our choices, what do you envision? What are your thoughts?
I mean, the easiest way to do a tree giveaway is to have it.
But I'm just saying, you're thinking about a giveaway, or would it be a reduced?
I think that's what the committee thought about.
Right, but I'm just asking you.
I have not. I've had my hands full with the new
I'm
code,
not
so
talking
I
about,
haven't.
I'm just, like, what do you think would be more successful? I'm just,
I don't want to make that guess for the
Right,
3,000
Well, I'm just,
residents that are here.
I'll just say I don't know if free usually drives pretty much anything. You can get rid of anything if it's free, and that works great if you're trying to get rid of something,
Yeah.
But if you're doing it with something that has value, I think trees do, and so forth.
But I'm sorry.
Well, let me finish my thought here. That I don't think necessarily, at least in the city of Rehoboth Beach, where people do have spending money, that free is not necessarily what you need to make it happen. You know what I mean? But if there's a particular thing, let's just say, for example, and I'm thinking like a canopy tree of some kind, if there was a way to get canopy trees, and from what people had said in the past, we've done this before and we got rid of like 3 trees or something. But is if we're trying to promote trees, or are we trying to promote canopy trees, would it be better to have like an occasion where a certain kind of tree, not many, maybe 1, 2 or something like that, would be available at maybe a reduced rate? Would that be as appealing as free trees that may not have much appeal at all?
And do we do that at one time, or is this just an ongoing program that would have to go through, leadership would have to be on board with that?
Sure.
Yeah,
Where,
well, and I think the other thing is that if the trees are free, I have no investment, which means go ahead and give me a tree planted in my yard that I don't have to water it. So I don't even know why we should even have such a program. Most people, as you said, in town can afford to buy a tree.
Right,
Maybe it is instead a little brochure or something. Maybe it's on the website of, we recommend you, if you're going to plant trees, plant these.
well, what I'm thinking along those lines too, Jennifer, but do we do something like, we know, and we've had many discussions on this committee with Liz, that maybe we target 3 to 5 types of trees that the city would like to see people plant, and then you provide an incentive with a discount, and that's all the time. And that gets advertised, and you just say, look, if you're willing to plant these native species or these native canopies, or however you state it, and
like that
you can do
idea.
it, and you'll get a 30% discount, or we'll provide a 50% discount for those trees, or I don't know, help you plant it or something like that, and give them a brochure about how to care for it and what, for the first year in particular, how this tree needs to be cared for, that sort of thing. I don't know, but I agree with your idea of just giving them away. I'm not really sure that's really anything any of us need.
I really like that idea of giving people like a focus of what kind of tree to plant. I actually found on the web that, did you know that Delmarva Power gives away free trees?
Yeah, and that's
They actually had ones, they give them away for Arbor Day, and I checked at the website, actually after Arbor Day, they had bald cypress trees left over after, and like, I don't know who would want those on their property.
I would. I love them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Like, I
personally.
guess, no, I would.
They're one of my favorite trees, believe it or not.
Just
yes.
not on my yard, it would not fit. I live
Right.
in country
I don't
club
have any.
estates,
I love
so,
them, though.
It's
Yes.
a nice tree, it just would not be suitable for my yard, I guess.
Right.
It would completely overwhelm it, but.
I mean, Liz, what do you think
Yeah.
about? I mean, as an arborist and the expert, what
So
is your
free tree
opinion?
programs, you guys brought up some of the issue, like you don't have an investment in it. You're devaluing it by giving it away for free,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's- get taught that in sales. If somebody says, oh, what's your best price? Well, this is my best price, because if you say it's lower, then you're saying I'm devaluing my story. Well, I told you it was worth this,
Right.
but it's actually worth this. The other issue with tree giveaways is the amount that die. So you have no tracking mechanism really for how well those trees do. So if you give away 20 trees and every single one dies, you just wasted $2,000 or however much you spent on them, not to mention all the time. So, and that has always been a challenge of all tree giveaway programs, and some of them do like, there are a lot of them that do rebates, and it's the same issues with that. So say if you plant any one of these 10 types of trees, here's the rebate we'll give you, and you just have to submit a receipt and a picture showing it was planted, because it's not like we can go on people's property, even volunteers, you can't go on their property and inspect them. It gets, like, I know some municipalities have staff that do that if they're big cities and have rebates and incentives. They'll go and check to make sure the tree is alive and physically planted before they issue the rebate.
Yeah, I
incentive.
mean, I think that gets, we haven't even discussed, I mean, I'd have to talk to Lawrence about, because I know we have money in the tree fund and that kind of things. I mean, I'm sure there's sources of funds for us to do something like that. But I like the idea, what you're talking about here with, that there would be we would basically do the legwork to try to find, a source for X number of certain species of trees that on a certain date or a certain weeks or whatever, that we could have them, available in some way, and then, so people would, just to incentivize people so they don't have to think, you know what I mean? Like, we know that, people would sign up and say, we're interested in getting one of these things, and we pay X number of dollars for it or something like that.
What are the trees we'd like to see, or Liz would like to see people plant? And here's 5 of them, and then keep it simple.
Yeah,
And
like-
here's
like
the
something like that.
discount
So, it's really, we're making it easier for you to get these things. I think that's like kind of the
Yeah, we're
the
pushing it
selling
in your
point.
face. Here it is.
Yeah, right. Here's your 5,
Here's
that
your
kind-
5
Yeah,
choices.
right. Yeah. That, and I suppose that could happen around Arbor Day. I mean, I don't know. I mean, let me just say, the genesis of this was all about, I think, was it Tom Gaynor was here, and he proposed that we should, we should do something like that. You know, I don't, you know, that was his idea, not really our idea, but I think it has,
That's not really accurate because about
Well, it happened before.
3 to 5 years ago, we explored this exact avenue.
yeah, right. So
and
I'm just saying, but he brought it up. That's what-
Yeah,
that's
he
what I'm
brought
saying.
it
Yeah.
back
So,
again.
so that's why I chose to pursue this a little bit. So anyway, so I'm just trying to like bring it in a little bit. So I mean, I think obviously we're going to talk about this next time, but I just want to get your thoughts. I didn't want to get into. I just thought a free sapling didn't have the same appeal of being able to sort of figure out how to get X number of trees
Well,
available.
So here's the issue. If you want to do legitimate sized trees, we wouldn't be able to do like a reduced tree you perch, like, and have it in the parking lot for pickup.
I don't think we should be involved in, like, we're the ones that are reducing it. It's like, we can get, we can call around to some nurseries and stuff like that and say, hey, if we got X number of trees, and we would have to get these things sort of pre-reserved, like know who's interested in doing it before we do it. But like if we could have like some kind, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, in that case, we would need to, if that's the approach we take, we would need to coordinate that with an event, like Arbor Day or Earth Day or something like that, and possibly things would have to be, you'd have to have an idea. This would have to be well advertised. This way people would know what they would want. Here are the choices. We've got, 5 or 6 people. Or do we do something and try to simplify that and just say this is a program that's always in place to incentivize people?
The rebate program is easier,
That's what I mean.
if that's what we're asking.
Is that
because-
workable, though? Like a rebate program like that? I mean,
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, there would have to be some sort of inspection or picture or something. I mean, it's
Yes.
work, don't get me wrong, but it's a feasible thing to do because if you want legitimate sized trees, not saplings, you can't really do a giveaway, even a discounted giveaway, because nobody wants to come to a city hall parking lot and pick up a 300-pound tree, right?
Right. Well, here's what I'm thinking too. What if we could arrange some kind of deal like a coupon where, if we talk to maybe we do it with, you tell me, either one or maybe a couple different nurseries or something like that. They would agree to like provide a discount if they're, live in the city of Rehoboth Beach and they get a coupon from us or something like that. You know what I mean? So like we're trying to.
Yeah, but then somebody's going to give the coupon to somebody else.
and that's more managed. That's more managed.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, if we're offering it up, like you can get, like it's basically we're getting like an insider discount, but we've already set it up with the nursery guy who says.
I don't
You
think
think so?
that'll.
You think it's gonna work?
And let's say you live in the city of Rehoboth and you want a discount on a tree?
they'll be
No,
like, yeah,
no.
that's
What
an extra
I'm
10%.
getting at is
Yeah.
we have talked to Eastern Ornamentals, or what's the place in
East
Northborough?
Coast.
East
Yeah,
Coast.
whoever, and we said, look, we want to do this sort of promotional thing, and we want to be able to offer people a reduced price on like these 5 species or something like that. So it's going to be, I don't know, $50 off or something like that. I'm thinking $50 off. I'm just pulling that out of the air, and then we have the coupon, so they have to pick up the coupon from us. So we know that they live here, and or at least can figure that out, right? And then they get the coupon, and then they can go and buy the tree and get $50 off. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but then we have no control over what they're buying or the site. Like, then you have to have a whole sheet for the nursery to look at.
Well, but
Becky, did you say that there's a fund for this? Fund?
no, there's no fund.
Oh.
They're just willing to give a discount.
Oh,
They could give a discount. I'm sure they can give a discount. They could give like a contractor discount, but they're giving it to a guy who's walking off the street. I mean, effectively you're getting a wholesale price as opposed to a retail price.
I think we should, just my opinion, it's
Well,
just,
that's why you're here.
yes. I would table the entire
All right.
Plantable Tree Program for property owners. If they know, these are the trees that the arborist city arborist recommends, I guess they're on the website, Liz, somewhere,
Our tree list
Yeah.
is on there, yeah.
of what we think you should buy. And I was actually looking at that recently and was taken aback that oak trees actually do a good job of withstanding hurricanes. And,
Strong wood.
yes, and maple trees, not so.
Not so much.
So people should also look at, as we were talking at the very beginning, of, be prepared. If whatever tree you plan to put on your property, you need to keep in mind that can it withstand these winds? So I would otherwise just table the Plantable Tree Program as a giveaway or a help-away or whatever. And I don't think,
obviously, we're not getting anywhere here, anyway, we may or may not continue this thought, okay?
There were a lot of good ideas
there's a lot
I
of good
heard
ideas,
here.
but,
Maybe we need more discussion with more committee
people?
members.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
If somebody feels strongly about doing it, they should probably pull the research, other municipalities, what they do for
Okay.
grants, giveaways, coupons, receipts, all that,
Okay.
because there are a lot out there.
So a lot of towns are doing this approach.
Mm-hmm.
And my question, my follow-up to that, and I was going to ask you this earlier, do we have any idea how successful that is? Or is it something that just floats out there and, one or two people take advantage of it once in a while?
I couldn't answer that. I think it probably varies by
Probably
the
need a little research on
municipality.
that. And
Yeah, but-
do we have any ideas of what municipalities, so if, for instance, one of us were to just, go online and look around and just get some ideas about who's doing this and if there's any information on the web that they provide about it, I'm sure that in Virginia and Maryland and there are towns
would-
doing this.
Yeah, I would look at the DC suburbs.
Okay.
Would be
okay.
one, and maybe like Montgomery County, DC itself, and then maybe a Google search for other ones in Delaware
Okay.
specifically.
I mean, the other thing could be, it could be as little as, and I don't know if this is okay or not, but let's say if some of the local nurseries are having like an end-of-season sale, can we promote that? Like and they're having specials on certain kind of tree species that we promote.
No, I don't think we can promote other businesses. I don't think that'll
No,
work.
we're just offering up that they have supply and they're reduced. I don't think that's a problem.
I see issues with that.
And the
Maybe
Tractor
not
Supply
saying,
down out there in the, in the
Well,
west gets mad. and,
you'll forget, like, what'll happen is we'll advertise this nursery and then some nursery that I haven't heard of. Why aren't we on the list?
Well, we put 'em on the list.
Unfortunately, that's one of those, no good deeds go unpunished.
Just a quick review of the tree giveaways. There are a lot of them out there, but they're run by their governments.
right.
They're run by, the state government in Maryland, the counties have them in.
So
those
not
very-
really the community itself then?
No, it's
not the
run by
municipality.
government.
Okay, okay.
Well, that may, then the other alternative is like what you're talking about with, who was that, Delmarva Power or something like that, come up with the people who are, yeah. All right,
I'm pretty sure Casey Trees does a program
Okay.
in DC.
all right, well, maybe just do that, okay.
You can have it if you want.
All right, all right. Fire scaping. What are we going to do with that? What was the plan? I'm just going to follow up on that to the extent.
Well, I'm missing my partner in crime.
Okay.
Andrea's not here. She was going to talk with somebody at is it DENREC, Liz, who was going to see about getting,
Would that be a speaker?
yes, either, yes, a speaker from the, I don't know if it's the fire department, to come in and talk to us. I don't know where, the status of that at this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think that topic is super well suited for a tree and green infrastructure I see the intent and purpose in it for sure, but when we talk about, that's really more related to land, like you had mentioned, landscaping materials, keeping limbs pruned from your roof, keeping stuff. I don't see how that really quite falls in with the mission of this particular committee myself. And not that I don't think it's important by any means.
To me, it's really the thrust of it is it's a fire safety issue, and I'm wondering, obviously it's a plant product, but it's a fire safety issue primarily.
Well,
so,
yeah, I think it started out with the pine needles.
yeah,
And then while you can make the argument that pine needles have nothing to do with the mission of this group, the pine needles, from what I've read, do actually kill everything below it
yeah,
and
right.
cause some kind
so
of
you-
reaction to the ground, so it makes it harder to plant green. So that's how it,
So we're really looking for like a ban on it, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make any argument. I don't see it. I just don't see how it fits in with green infrastructure
Yeah.
and tree canopy. I think it's still important, but I think it would be best pursued through a separate avenue, maybe with the fire department myself.
And Jennifer, I would have to look at that research a little more carefully because I have found articles that say almost exactly the opposite. That say that.
No matter what you look for, it's out
Exactly.
there.
Exactly. And
I believe it that
we
they would catch
actually
on
have
fire.
them in full disclosure. At my house, we got rid of our lawn and everything, but we need something other than mud. And so we covered it with mulch. Frankly, is a mold incubator, and so we brought in pine needles. And I did some research, and there are pros and cons for it. Personally, for our own decision to make it and use it. And mostly what I read is that any kind of acidic properties to the pine needles, that washes out actually very quickly, and you just get something that's pretty long lasting. It doesn't break down as quickly as other things do. But as far as harm goes, we were even told to leave now for the winter the leaves and the pine needles and everything all winter long to help the roots and the insects and everything survive under that blanket, and then have things cleaned up in the spring before we relay stuff down. So
Good to know, good to know.
but I also agree that I also agree that there are articles that say exactly the opposite, that it can be very damaging to other plants and certain plants and things like that. So I'm not really sure. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I think none of us are experts on this.
Right.
And then I know they do like wildfire risk ratings for like communities and stuff. So like high-risk communities typically have like some sort of plan in place. And it is something you think of when like in our maintenance of the couple of wooded parks, we keep debris maybe a little lower for that being one of the reasons. You want to make sure you have an appropriate amount of mulch cover, right, in a forest or in your yard, but you don't want this much.
Yeah.
So there is a balance there for sure.
Well, do we want to table this one as well?
Well, just one comment I wanted to make was, I think what you talked about was, and this might be part of it, pine straw, which is pine needles, but it seemed like it was like desiccated somehow.
Yeah, you
or
can get
something.
it, apparently, you can buy pine, bales of pine
Yeah,
at Home Depot or Lowe's. And I think my concern was that the depth of the needles people were putting in on their yards, especially the one house in the pines.
right.
And it was not just ground cover, it was like 5 inches deep. And, and then, as I said, and brought up before, back in May and June, I think it's Sunset Beach in North Carolina,
Yeah.
which is like Fenwick Island. There are no trees. And people put pine needles out, but way too many. And then they put the grill next to the pine needles, and 3 houses burned before the fire department can get there. So I don't know, as Liz says, is that trees and green, or is this something else that should be discussed by another group?
Maybe, I'm not 100% sure. I'm actually of the, I like to think that this committee is a little more comprehensive than, when we talk about green infrastructure, I actually think that kind of stuff falls into that category. It's not just about roads and, and, you know, plantings along sidewalks and things like that. I think it's bigger than that personally. So I think this kind of thing is up for discussion. Anything that could affect the community that dramatically, I think that's something that could be discussed. And if this isn't the appropriate forum, we can discuss it and move it to that, wherever that is.
I'm not eager to, I just want to establish where we headed with this, and I do feel like if that is a subset of the overall use of pine needles, that to indicate that, or to just show it as an alert or a warning that, under certain circumstances, this particular product can do this or something like that. And I don't know if we're talking about, getting a citywide ban or anything. I don't think we're going
I
that
just
far.
don't think any of us are knowledgeable enough about it.
Right.
Yeah,
honestly.
right.
I would want
Myself
some more
included.
data.
Okay, all right.
I'd like to know, like, how many communities across the United States have been affected, and where are those communities? Is this something that was really a
okay.
serious alert, or is it a one-off that happened in a community that has a lot of?
I know South Carolina has some problems. My mom lives in Myrtle Beach, and
Okay.
her community banned them.
They did. Okay, so this is a thing.
So
Okay.
I don't know if it's a South Carolina thing. I know that they had some problems in South Carolina, and that's the community that's near where Jennifer's talking about.
Okay.
But I can ask my mom
Yeah.
more about it
Here's
because I
one.
know it's in her neighborhood.
Rehoboth Beach, the wildfire risk, which wildfire risk to communities, Rehoboth Beach has a low risk of wildfire, lower than 60% of communities in the US. And then it breaks everything down. So you can search by your zip
Carolina's
code.
got a way higher risk, I believe.
Yeah, so our risk level is
Yes, so
lower.
Myrtle Beach is medium itself. It's kind of a cool website, though.
all right, well, that's good to know.
So what's the next step with that?
Well, I
You
think-
want an idea of how many communities across the,
Well, I think it also
East
depends on where
Coast?
the community is. This was what Liz just brought up, I think is a good point. Maybe
gonna-
we look at that website a little bit more. Is this
Okay.
an issue for
Okay,
the
yeah.
Mid-Atlantic, really, or not at this point? And maybe we are conscious of that, and a little blurb goes out in our section that says, look, people should be conscious of how much they're using.
okay.
And I'm going to go over and talk to somebody at the fire department.
Okay, great. I mean, maybe we've seen this in our community and we're not even aware of it. A yard fire or something like that. We don't.
Yeah. I think it's just like, let's know what the risk is. That sounds good.
Yeah, but, thanks, Jennifer, after I got rid of my yard
Yeah,
and my mowing and put down pine needles.
All right. The last item I have here is, again, and this is going to be a to be continued, but just in terms of this Ivy League group, or shall we proceed on this or just keep working on this? I mean, as we talked extensively, I think last time, of trying to organize a time date, and I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know when that's going to be, because we're starting to move into, I think we really need to nail down this business about a lecture. I think that's probably the next thing we're going to do. But I'm just going to say for this one next time. But let's get a larger contingent of people here, and we'll decide what we're going to do with that. So we're kind of.
And one last thing, if we could just, did we go over that or not?
I just said we'd do that next
Okay,
time,
yeah,
because
great.
that was kind of like something that Susan has
Yes, yeah.
typically followed up on or whatever. I'm just going to go to item 7. Do we have any other comments or any other topics anybody wants to bring to the fore?
I have one question, actually. If we do, if we look up some things online, we get some links, things like that, is it okay to send it in an email to the group, or does it all have to go through Bunky? That's what I'm, by rules way.
to it. Yeah, just say no response.
Okay.
No response needed.
And if
Yeah,
you're gonna send them to the group, also send them to me so I can attach them to the agenda.
Okay,
okay,
okay, great.
very good. Thanks for that. All right, let's see, discuss items to include on future agendas. I think that's kind of what we just spent our entire meeting doing. So I think we're okay with that. Next meeting, when's our next meeting? Anybody got a calendar or? It's,
I do, but I'm,
okay,
September 8th?
that's what it looks like to me. Yeah, I think September 8th.
It's almost Labor Day.
Yeah. So,
September 8th, I can make it. I can confirm that now.
think so?
Yeah.
I can too.
I think
Okay.
I can.
Great,
yeah.
great. This may be our time. Okay. Well, if we have nobody else to contribute here, I'm going to call the meeting at 11 o'clock, looks like to me. Thank you all, and I appreciate everybody's input and